Hello, everyone. I hope you all are doing well. Welcome to this particular session where we would be talking about the new age degree for students and professionals. And the degree, what we are talking about, is none other than IIM Bangalore. Okay, the degree, which is called the IIM Bangalore Digital Business Entrepreneurship. Okay, a degree which would actually provide you with edge over the others. It is something which would make sure that you get an edge. It can be serving for you as a dual degree as well, because a lot of students currently are taking this as a second degree while continuing to do their normal graduation from a lot of other universities. Okay, so a lot of you who are right now joining, I just want to know which city you all are joining from. So quickly in the chat box, if you can hear me in the YouTube as well. Hello everyone there. Quickly in the comment section, it would be nice if you can tell me which city you all are joining from. It will be easier for us to understand and to cater your questions accordingly. A lot of you are from Pune, amazing. Chennai, Ahmedabad. What about YouTube? Okay, looks like YouTube being a kind of freezed there, which I cannot really able to see. But yes, I can see a lot of you answering on the Zoom here. Delhi, East Delhi, amazing, amazing. So all of you here who are looking at understanding what exactly the program is all about, what exactly what you would get out of it, this particular session will be answer to all your questions. I have a list of questions here. Okay, and I have the man himself, Professor and Chairperson, Professor Suresh Bhagvatula. It's the second time I have the privilege of talking to you, sir. Absolutely honored, and thank you so much for taking out time. My nervousness is still not less anymore from the last year.
Okay, nice. Thank you very much for having me over. Happy to do this session. And as you rightly said, it is a program which is new and a program that needs to be told. And therefore, we're very happy that you're doing it for us.
It's absolutely, I would say, a pleasure and an honor, but I'm very certain today the students and parents, because this particular program, it kind of sets itself apart. Okay, so we will talk more about it, but not before we start with our session. So now I'm officially starting this particular conversation. Welcome everyone. This is Sanika Mate, your friend, your mentor, and your guide, welcoming everyone to you for this a session which would be more of, I would say, an eye opener, because the way the education system is changing, the way the dynamics are changing, it is not only about going to college and taking the degree. The education, the ball is in your court now. You can do what and how you would like it. And that's what NEP is all about, the National Education Policy. Also, with the online program coming into picture, it is also opening door for you to upskill yourself, to get into universities which would provide you with not only the content but edge and the kind of peer learning which you can just possibly think of having a 40-year-old businessman sitting with you in an online class, and with your offline sessions you connect with them, with when you learn with them, it's a different thing altogether. And today, to make sure that you all know more about it, we have Professor and Chairperson Professor Bhagvatullah. And before you all, just question that whom you are talking to, I would want you all to know about him, because you would know that the information you are getting or the direction of this particular program is coming from of what level. So today, joining us today is Professor Suresh Bhagvatula, professor in the entrepreneurship area at Indian Institute of Management, Bangalore, and chairperson of the BBA in Digital Business and Entrepreneurship program. So Professor Bhagvatullah is widely recognized for his work in entrepreneurship, startup ecosystems, innovation, and social networks. He has been closely associated with NSRCEL, IIM's Bangalore's renowned startup incubator, and has worked extensively with entrepreneurs, startup, and emerging ventures across India. With deep expertise in understanding the future of business, digital transformation, and entrepreneurial ecosystems, he brings a unique perspective on how education must evolve to prepare students and professionals for the new age economy. We are delighted to have him with us today to help us understand how the IIM Bangalore BBA DBE program is shaping the next generation of business leaders, innovators, and entrepreneurs. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, Professor. Now,
Thanks a lot.
most welcome. Now, before we start with, I have a list of questions with me, right? But before I start this particular conversation, all my people who have joined on YouTube and right now on Zoom would want to understand from you a basic understanding of what this particular program is all about.
Thank you. Thank you, Sanika. I think you've been very kind with the introduction and talking about the program. Thank you very much. Um, Hello, everyone. Nice to be interacting with you, although it's online, but to see about 110 people and some more watching on YouTube. Greetings to all of you all from campus. Um, so the program that we are currently talking about is our BBA, the first undergrad program that IIM Bangalore has started. We have another offline undergrad program which we are starting in a new campus this year. That's completely offline and it's interdisciplinary, but very limited seats, 80 seats to begin with. While here, the objective of this program is slightly different. Here, we wanted to create a program that is of very high quality, it's contemporary, and it is linked to what the industry would like to have in their freshers. Our assumption, our hypothesis is that most undergrad programs, or maybe let me rephrase that. India has wonderful master's level institutes, but our bachelor education needs lot more high quality education institutions. We have law, we have professional courses like law, engineering, doctor, architect, and various other undergraduate programs. But other than these professional courses, there are not many in the past. These days, we have a lot more options with the likes of Flame, Ashoka, and a bunch of liberal arts schools that have come up. But by and large, the undergrad education has been extremely devoid of any innovation. So while there are courses like BCA or computer applications or BTech in computers, the contemporariness of these undergrad programs is a lot to improve, right? It is not really of great change. If you look at BCom syllabus or BA syllabus or any other syllabus, they really haven't really refreshed to what the industry would like to have. So it was with this assumption that we thought we will have a course which is high quality, which is cheap by IIM standards, which is also delivered across digitally because thanks to our mobile phone, thanks to the improvements in our information and communication technologies, internet and devices and technologies are now available almost everywhere. So we wanted to leverage this access and address the issues that some of these people may be having, because I'm not saying that there are no good undergrad institutions, but you may have to go to Delhi, you may have to go to capital cities, you may have to go to large towns in the neighborhood. But courses like this can be done wherever you are. So you could be in a small town where you do not have too many good institutions and not be limited by what is offered there. You could join a small institute, in the sense of program there, and then take this alongside, right? So that way you will be able to have high quality education, because we have thought a lot before we put this curriculum across, right? So therefore you have access to whatever is available locally, but not limited to you what is available locally. You could also do a program like this that will give you new age skills. So with that in mind, we put this course together, and we offered it for 2 years now.
Amazing. Uh, Last year, when we had a conversation, we spoke about, how IIM Bangalore is planning to deliver the program. Okay. My question and after that, we have done a session with students out of my curiosity and the questions which I was getting, which, from the students, that how exactly it is being delivered. It is kind of going into the direction what we spoke. In fact, a little better, because your personal involvement and students have been very highly speaking about that. But my first question to you, going by what we spoke last year, in a previous session, we discussed flexibility because it's an online program. It kind of works, it's more flexible. Also, accessibility. But what truly makes the IIM Bangalore DBE a new age degree rather than just an online degree? I mean, I'm sure there has to be a little bit beyond that, about beyond accessibility and flexibility.
So the innovation, or at least our attempt, is to create a course that spreads across three domains. The first domain is like any other bachelor's in business administration. We have a lot of content from the business side. So you do the normal BBA courses, like could be marketing, could be finance, could be strategy, could be operations. So these are all business content that is given to you. In addition, we have entrepreneurship. The objective of this course is not to make people entrepreneurs, but the objective of this course is to make you all entrepreneurial. That means that you understand what it is to be responsible for the jobs that you take up. We understand the fact that you will make sure that you pick it up and complete with responsibility. So that's being entrepreneurial. That
Hmm.
sometimes not all information is given to you. So how do I do this? You know how to do this. Because most freshers would require inputs from the seniors, input from those who are in the organization to say how it is to be done. But given that we understand how do you take decisions under uncertainty, how do you develop an idea and take it forward, so you have this entrepreneurial mindset which is required in the coming years. And the third part of it is the digital technologies. Currently, there are very few communities who are not interacting with digital technologies. A roadside vendor now uses digital technologies. Um, Somebody who's coming to do a job at your house is using digital technologies. You're getting into a restaurant and using digital technologies. You're buying using digital technologies, right? So the and your entertainment is through digital technology. So there are very few locations and spaces where digital technologies do not have a footprint. So how do we now leverage these digital technologies and get students acclimatized with these digital technologies so that they can go and work in these companies that are becoming more and more digital? So now you have AI coming in, now you have social media everywhere. So you have possibilities that you didn't have in the past. So therefore, how do you leverage this technologies, use your entrepreneurial mindset, and create value to businesses? That's how we look at these three.
So basically, having that entrepreneurial mindset and making sure that, it is something which is reaching out to the communities which have not really been kind of getting the opportunity. Now, when we talk about this particular program, I'm sure everybody right now who is listening to this, who is understanding or trying to understand the program, would want to know that what exactly the curriculum design and how exactly it is made relevant in this rapidly evolving and again the AI driven business landscape. How exactly it will be helping them?
How exactly would it be helping them?
Yes, as in how exactly it is designed, how the curriculum is designed to stay relevant.
So we have basic courses that are being offered by all our faculty. These are our faculty who are teaching our core MBA courses. These are faculty who are extremely highly rated. So they are the ones who are coming and talking about the business side. And we also have an entrepreneurship area. So we have our entrepreneurship faculty offering courses on entrepreneurial mindset. We are going to have practitioners come and offer courses, like we had one on website making, we have one on Excel, we have one on social media, we have one on we'll have one on platform businesses, we are going to have one by a very renowned VC, an entrepreneur turned investor, K. Ganesh. He's going to be offering a course on new age business models. And we will have somebody who was the CEO of one of the biggest product that Infosys had. He's going to talk about how do you do product management and product development. So we have content being offered both by academicians and practitioners who bring in the best of both the worlds so that the students have access to the most contemporary thought.
So definitely the students will be learning from the best, and that's what really kind of makes it, different. And that's what I've been speaking about. But one thing which right now a lot of students have asked here is about, a lot of students have questions in regards with, how exactly the program is delivered. Now, on the same lines, I have a question where, right now, it's the admission season which is going on. Many students are confused between going for a traditional degree, be it a BBA, a traditional program, or going with some other degrees, which is on the lines of Ashoka, Kriya Flame, the interdisciplinary degrees, which is being offered. Where does the BBA, DBE creates that impact, or what advantage does it provide the students?
So the first is a lot of courses. Um, so first of all, if you have Ashoka on your hand or Flame on your hand or any of these good schools, don't let them go. They're hard to get into, and the curriculum is really good. And being together has a huge advantage that students need at this age. So what this course provides is accessibility. And it also provides a structure to this accessibility. And it also provides some amount of discipline that we follow up, we ask questions, and there are other students in order to run this course or participate in this course remotely. So the biggest, while I've been talking about all the fancy things about this particular program, it is very hard for students to sit in front of a machine and then learn. So to that instance, we are trying to create some kind of quasi-social ways in which people can study together or have pods that they could talk to each other and address some of the issues. But it is not an easy course by any stretch of imagination. This is not a random online course. It's quite hard. The content is of decent quality, which means that you will have to put in those hours. I'm not saying students have not found hacks. Every student finds hacks to survive in educational programs. When I was a student, I did that. I see no reason why current students wouldn't do those hacks. So there are lots of hacks that people have figured out, but the nice thing about these, our students are, they tell us what hacks they are working on. So, which is also good for us to know what hacks that they are doing, which is okay. But as far as um, requirement for this course is concerned, the two things that are required, which is very hard at this age, which is time management and discipline. Because if you have these two, then this is a wonderful course. But if you want somebody to sit and then say that, oh, I need somebody to look over my shoulders to see whether I'm studying, not studying. We have done some experiments. We are getting better at it. So now we have systems which are much better than when we started to keep inducing this watching over the shoulders in order to create some level of socializing that the students require for them to complete this course. Um, other than that, I think doing this as a standalone course, I would not recommend unless you're doing something like CA or doing something else that is also not offered through uh, um, a local campus. But my suggestion is to do it alongside something that you're doing it in a local college, because socializing is very important at this stage. While this course can be done independently, and a lot of people are doing it independently, my suggestion is do something else that adds value and do this alongside, right? Don't do BBA there, BBA here, because that doesn't make sense. But do something else and do this alongside, so that this gives you the kind of cutting edge contemporary capabilities, while your local college also gives you some contemporary capabilities, but there are also socializing, interaction, relational capabilities that are also required in your career.
So, going by what you have said, the questions have been on the same lines we have in the comment section and in the Q&A box. If this program or this particular degree can be a standalone degree. So, someone who just asked me right now this particular question, uh, Suresh said it clearly, saying uh, the kind of socializing, the kind of peer learning which you get being offline in the college, I think it's unmatchable. Okay, so try not to take it as a standalone unless you have something, like a professional degree which is going on in here. It can be a dual degree. A lot of students last year have opted for it and making gold of this opportunity. But if you are someone who should go for it, if you have the appetite and that motivation of time management, and you know that you would
No,
be
that you will get, because there's so many things that are happening. There are apps that students have developed. There are these calendars that you have that they have developed to keep track of which course has which CLA, continuous learning assessment, which week, which day, live sessions. So they are struggling, they're figuring out, which you will as well. But there are two other categories that I would like to talk about, which we found in our program, is those who are involved in family business. They find it attractive because then they are putting their knowledge directly to use, which is very interesting, because they're managing to tell their parents or grandfather to give me a small piece of business that I will run, but I will run it alongside this education, because it is giving me flexibility, because I do business in the morning and then maybe in the afternoon I go and study. That's one set of people that we have noticed. Another set of people we have noticed are entrepreneurs who say that, look, I don't want to pursue a degree. I just want to start something on my own. Uh, but but going and attending is something that I can't do because I'm running my venture, running my startup. So this comes in very useful because they are running their ventures and doing this alongside. These are two extra categories of people that we have also noticed in the last couple of batches.
All right. So I hope whoever had questions around the same, they have already kind of, they know the answers for it. Now coming to my next question, sir. Um, what are some of the biggest misconceptions students and parents currently have about this particular program, which you have come across as the chairperson and the faculty for the program?
I'm just saying, don't do it because you have access to a great institution. That don't do that, or you're getting an IMB tag. You need to understand these tags are very hard. If you have to give CAT exam, or if even if our other undergrad program that we currently had, we had 10,000 people apply for 80 seats. Our regular CAT is like you need to be in the top to be able to get here. I'm not saying that as a stripe. I think we should have much more democratic access to education, which is what we are doing. But life is hard, right? So this is not an easy course. It is a tough course. So just because it's online doesn't mean there is no quality. Just because online anything will go. Not true, because all exams are in person. And we are getting at, and as you go through the program, the exams also will get correspondingly harder. So look at it from this angle that take time, think whether you have it in you, that you are motivated, you have a desire, that you have a desire to learn, that you have independent, and you would like to be independent, then this program really works for you, right? If you are self-driven, right? Some elements of self-driven, right? So what we are basically trying to do is that flip the whole thing, saying that, look, give access to people and then see many of them need to put in effort, need to give time. This is not something that you can cram in the last minute and pass. While some students have created AI hacks and created some kind of situations where you would be able to understand, oh, what kind of questions are likely to come. But we are also getting better at asking hard questions. We are also getting better at leveraging and being innovative with respect to our examinations as well. Because at the end of the day, our idea is not to create a large barrier. Our idea is to create a set of people for whom access is all that they need in order to do well, right? So then you don't, and this is something that you can do wherever. And I've seen some people have very interesting structures around their course here. There's a lot of material online. There are lots of AMAs that are going on Reddit, but please do not join because it gives you access to an IM tag. There are many students who have noticed who haven't even watched the single video. What's the point of wasting your parents' money? That doesn't make sense. So we wouldn't want to have people who are joining just for the sake that, hey, it is accessible, let me just go join. But it is not very cheap as well. So don't have to jump in because of an identity that you get by association. Get because this identity that you're getting by association is giving you access to quality education that will improve and help you be a better employee, a better person who is going to get into our corporate world and change the way things are doing, right? Most people complain that, oh, we don't get good freshers. But here is a program that trains you saying that, hey, we want you to come and work for us. We have faculty members for whom some of these students are interning. They're very happy. We have had small projects that the students did for startups. They are very happy. We have courses where students will have to go to a website for a small business in their neighborhood. They are very happy, right? So if you have capabilities and if you demonstrate capabilities, everybody is going to be happy. Your parents are going to be happy. Your local people who are using your capability in order to do better, they are going to be happy. Eventually, you are also going to be happy because you're playing a role in the world that is outside.
So I think the question has been answered, the misconceptions, whatever you have, it has been answered. And I think the direction, apart from I think answering the question, sir is also showing the direction. Sir is also very clearly mentioning that who this particular program is for and who should ideally be really applying for it. So now I am getting a lot of questions even on YouTube, Suresh sir, and even right now, which is more talking about the practicality in terms of how is the rigor of the program, accountability, peer learning, how exactly this would work out. So can we put a little bit light on that aspect of the program, please?
Definitely. It is not an easy course. It is not an easy course. Every term has 5 courses. Each course is approximately, right? Some have more, some have less, but every term has 15 credit worth of content. 15 credits would mean 5 3-credit courses. And each 3-credit course is about 24 hours, right? So you would need to spend quite a bit of time for you to complete each term. But you can templatize it. Templatize it. That's the easiest. If there's something that you will learn by the time this course gets over, is your ability to manage time will be through the roof. And everybody would, it would be very endearing for older people like us to look at young people manage the time, saying that, man, this is so good, so responsible. So if you can allocate about 5 6 hours a week, um, that's more than enough. Serious 5 6 hours a week, that's more than enough. 8 hours a week, more than enough. But you need to do that. Like if you want to do statistics, you'll have to open the course book. You can't read or watch. Even if you have Brad Pitt or whoever narrates statistics, you will have to do it. Just because I get Amitabh Bachchan to read statistics and make it interesting, make it like Kung Fu Panda trying to get you to understand stats, it's not going to go in. Right? If you want to understand, some have, like if it's social media, we can make it interesting. If it's a website, we can make it interesting. But if you'll have to do fundamentals of communication, you will have to do it yourself. Go into that discomfort of making those mistakes, saying that, oh, I'm not writing this email well. Well, all of y'all have AI at the end. But if you are not aware about how uniform AI is going to be, and therefore you will be discounted. Right now, AI is a fad, but eventually all emails are going to look like Shakespearean poem, right? Shakespearean sonnet. So everybody knows that you've written using AI. So if you don't have those capabilities yourself, your ability to communicate, your ability to understand maths, your ability to understand finance or operations, these things you will have to look at. We'll send you textbooks. Well, like some of them are scarily big, but doesn't matter. But it does give you an opportunity to learn and learn well, right? So setting aside about 6 to 8 hours, honestly, every week, templatized Tuesdays, Thursdays, or right? That's good enough.
That's good enough. So a lot of you asked questions, and he has answered the best way possible. a lot of you are right now asking questions regarding, what would be the entrance exam, how exactly this will be, how you would be able to manage in terms of the exams, or it is manageable. Quickly, I want to ask one thing to all of you, and a raise of hand would be appreciated. Okay. Do you think, instead of sir answering these questions, do you think a student who is right now completed the first year, do you think it would be better if we get them and answer your questions with, whatever questions you have, the practical one, manageable time management, how did they manage their exam? Do you think will it be better? Yeah. A lot of you are showing a positive yes. Okay, so let's do this. We will come up with a session. Okay, it would be helping. So we have done it last year. You can just go on the IMS YouTube channel and you can see the session there. uh, One of those students, who were part of it, everybody, I think two of them were doing dual degree, the two of them were doing their BBA with NMIMS while they were simultaneously doing the program with IIM Bangalore DBE program. So I think you will get a very good understanding. However, they have completed the 1 year, and it will be nice to understand what their journey would be. So we will be coming up with that particular session, and I will share some details with you so you don't miss it. But we would take this a little later. We will just give you some information, but let's get back to the questions. Okay. Uh, Teresa, you just mentioned that working professional, you know, you have students coming from all the possible age and range here. Okay. When it comes to a working professional who is considering this particular program, who also have the jobs and the responsibilities, how exactly, I mean, 7 to 8 hours, even for a working professional, becomes very difficult. I can speak for myself, who was actually to a point this close to consider the program last year when I saw it myself. So, wanted to understand, if you talk about them, the working professionals, how manageable is the academic rigor for a working professional? Only the workload aspect, and only from that aspect. So you're on mute.
For a working professional, there are courses which will be very easy, like communication. We have a course on theater, because one of the things that we noticed is students from large towns have an advantage around them because they know how to talk, they know how to interact. So they have certain personality traits that get developed because of you grew up in Delhi, Bombay, Chennai, Hyderabad, Bangalore, but suddenly you're from a small town like Srikakulam, Rajmundry, or somewhere Rajnandgaon. You don't have the same kind of, I wouldn't say swag, but the confidence to talk to people. So we had a theater course to say that, look, it's a theater. You go and act in front of your parents saying that you're very concerned, you studied very hard, but exam didn't go well. So you do a lot of enacting in your life. So look at your professional life also as enacting. And then, so we have courses like those, right? So they would be very easy for you all to go through, like people management. It would be very interesting course for you because it'll also add value to what you're doing, like social media. So you can have certain capabilities because you're using them, it comes in very easily. But the courses that you need to put your mind to would be like operations, stats, maths, right? Advanced stats. So those things you may have to put your mind to. But many others, you don't need that kind of time that a youngster, 17-year-old would want. Because you have already have your experience, and those experience creates hooks for you to learn very rapidly. Just listening to it once would get to your mind. So, so So for a working professional, jump in, jump in, because there are courses, like 50% of the courses would be very easy for you. And in any case, these days, much of our lives are taken over by Instagram and YouTube.
True that. Won't deny. Everyone who is right now watching this is guilty of possibly just
Yeah, yeah,
checking.
yeah. Even me, even me. Yeah.
But one thing which, you know, I want to kind of ask something which is again coming from, because I've been following this particular program very closely because of some personal, thought process as well in it. How does the IIM Bangalore envision the role of the digital business education over the next decade? Because we spoke about it that digital is something which is everywhere. But how do IIM Bangalore envision it?
We are struggling. So it is not very easy because it's very easy to get into a classroom and talk to 70 youngsters, although 50% of them are not looking at you, another 30% are sleeping, but doesn't matter. There is a different energy to get into a classroom and talking to people. Putting them in front of a camera and asking them to imagine the students and talk is very hard. And that has a huge learning curve. And then in a classroom, it is just between me and my students, and my content is very good. But here it is me, students who I don't see, technology, editing, a whole bunch of things that come between the faculty and the students. That is something which is very hard. And the third and most important thing is evaluation. How do you evaluate? How do you evaluate? So if evaluations is going to be quite hard, um, getting people to watch videos are hard. Um, we are saying that how do you make things more interesting and make it more watchable? I don't think education can be made any more interesting than what it is. As in, one can make it a little more interesting, but but the way I look at the digital technologies where we are trying to copy what is in a classroom onto a screen. So this is like how early movies were made, where drama was made into movies. Movies didn't have their own vocabulary. We just, people who were in drama became actors. But subsequently, as the vocabulary of movie making started to change, the way they move the camera, the way they pan things, it started to have its own vocabulary. And so digital and digital teaching will have to evolve to have its own vocabulary, which I feel is not being done as much as it should. We're still trying to copy a classroom and make it online. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. And we don't have budgets like what movie they have, like 200 crores, 300 crores that they are spending in order to create special effects and make things interesting for a 3 hour movie. Right? Imagine for 3 hours, they would have spent $300 million. We don't have that
Mhm.
kind of budget, right? So we need to very quickly evolve our own technologies to make things interesting. And digital can't be a classroom.
Digital can't be a classroom, and that is something which a lot of students have to keep in mind. That if you're planning to pursue this particular program, a lot of you are asking this question. Once I got a student is asking, should I leave my tier 3 college if I get enrolled in this program and pursue a CA alongside?
Definitely not. Definitely not. Looking back, you'll never realize how important these tier three colleges are. Any college, right? Any college, interpersonal capabilities, connections, networks. I'm sure current youngsters are digital natives, so to an extent, they can connect digitally, and their ability to talk about themselves in social media with absolutely no privacy is very, very high. So they are a different they're a different breed altogether compared to how things were when we were there. As I was saying, nobody is going to read my diary, and you write, and your diary has a lock on it, and then these are only for you. And I don't think people do that. Your diary is now open to everybody. Anybody can read it, right? So while you are digitally much more conversant with the way in which the world is going, physical and face-to-face connections are important. And intuitively, without knowing, we place a lot of importance So tier three colleges also have a huge role to play in this developing those muscles and interactions and things like that. So don't let go. Don't let go. Use this as a topic.
Fantastic. Now, one question which I am getting this back to back in my Q&A box, which is about should I do this alongside IPM? Uh, will they get time? Is my next question to all the students who are asking this.
I wouldn't work that hard if it was me. I didn't work that hard when I was that young, right? So why would you want to put yourself through this kind of hardship, right? IPM is going to be its own standards, its own hard, whatever, right? Whichever place you go to. So doing two of them, putting yourself through like courses there, courses here, unless you say that I'm going to learn there and crack this because this becomes then easier, that's okay. But don't do it without some plan, right? Have some plan because time management is going to be very hard. Time management is going to be very hard. So I would suggest think deep and set aside those hours. And if you're a disciplined person, it's good. But if you're not disciplined like me, then it's going to be hard.
All right, I think we answered a lot of practical questions here, but now let's look at, some other practical questions which you all have asked. Uh, so how important, I mean, when we talk about socializing, we are somewhere connecting or we are speaking about networking. Okay, there is always this aspect which is there. So how important are networking and peer interaction in this program? And how are those experiences, facilitated virtually or offline?
So we do have offline events. We have one that we are planning to do on campus every year. Last year, we managed to get them to stay on campus, but this year, most of our hostel rooms are being renovated. A lot of our classrooms are being renovated. So we will not be able to do it during the holidays. So we're doing it during regular term. We are not able to give them a place to stay. But this will also give our students opportunity to interact with our PGP students, with our PGP students. So we're looking at it from that point of view. So there are offline events that we try to do. We also do a lot of online events. In addition, we are creating something called learning pods where we get some very good students to interact with those who are finding difficulty in certain courses. And some learning pods are very active. Students take it very seriously. Um, I mean, the learning pod leaders take it very seriously and they spend quality time trying to tell others how to pass. So what I'm noticing is the fact that it is not offline is pushing a bunch of students to take up responsibilities to make sure that there is interactions with one another. So that's happening. City level meetups are happening, and those kind of things are happening. Um, but 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 again, these are very early stages. There are far too many moving parts for us in terms of management, in terms of course development, in terms of making sure the exams are all in place. So there are far too many moving parts for us to learn. Slowly, we are able to fix one by one by one. But on the whole, on the whole, the way in which this program is going and developing, um, I think is interesting for the students also.
It's interesting for the students as well. And now, as you just said that, the way it is going, it is interesting for the student. I just wanted to understand, sir, that how the recruiters and the industry leaders are responding, to the digital business focused undergraduate degrees.
We have not yet come there,
Mm-hmm.
not yet come there. We are going to be having the first intern drive that we would be launching in term six, um, where they will be working with a business or a startup, whosoever is in that particular term. So let's see how that goes. By and large, I think we are creating a cadre of individuals who I would assume would be required by the recruiters and the industry. The way I look at it is most places other than India, there is no campus recruitment happening. I didn't come in through campus recruitment. And I think what happens through campus recruitment is that you look at very, very uninnovative jobs because you want surety. So what happens is very interesting jobs don't land up because they're not interested. Students may not be interested. So I believe that we are giving you capabilities that the market wants. We are giving you capabilities to present yourself in the real world. And I think if you put these two things together, you should be able to find your own space. So write to people, talk to people, get a job like how everybody would get in the rest of the world. I've heard people say that a lot of students who have had multiple campus placements do not know how to search for a job, do not know how to present themselves to the industry. And that is something which you go anywhere in the world. If you go, I studied in the Netherlands, I studied in Germany. Students pick themselves up and say that, look, I need a job. I go talk to people. I develop my own CV. I go do interviews. And that's a capability that you are going to have for the rest of your life, right? So once even MBA students, once they finish their MBA, they need to get the next job through their own network, by presenting themselves, by showcasing what they're doing. And that's how you do. That's how you do in the real world. So, so my assumption, which is still untested, is that the market would want these people. And Indian parents and Indian students saying that, oh, is it a 3 lakh job or a 6 lakh job or a 12 lakh job? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Eventually, it'll all square off. So it doesn't matter if you do a low paying job that will give you a lot of capabilities so that you have a lot of cards to play with subsequently, right? So make sure you gather experiences, make sure you gather capabilities, make sure you understand how to talk to people, make sure you know how to sell yourself, sell the product. People will want you, right? So I think the narrative around this is going to be that we are trying to push them to go figure it out themselves. While I know we can't absolve ourselves of that responsibility because that's how the industry is organized here, but we will try to create a platform where we will connect the students to potential recruiters. But we wouldn't want to do it because we're saying that there is no recruitment as part of this particular. We're not. There's no job guarantee that we are offering as part of this course. Not because we can't do it, but because I think it's a capability that students should develop themselves.
Okay. I think the message is loud and clear. All of you who had questions related to recruitment, placement, sir just answered it. Okay. A heartbreak which was heard up till here, but I think there are certain skills which you need to learn. I would not deny that because unless and until you have tried it yourself, we all like things being on platter. But I think when you learn the skill stays with you throughout your life. And I think it's absolutely worth. If you're looking forward to develop the networking, if you're looking forward to learn the content and from the best in the industry, then this program is definitely for you. But my last question right now, sir, is for a lot of students who are still right now they're listening. Okay, and I'm sure this is one question which they have in their mind. Okay, if a student or a professional like me is still unsure, about may apply karu? Should I apply? Should I wait? It's going to be difficult. A lot of questions, right? What are the key factors should they evaluate before deciding whether they need to cross the line and join the BBA DBE program?
I think the first capability that I would say is that how good at how good are you at learning by yourself, right? There's certain level of capability that you need to develop in order to learn, which I think is very high in most Indian students because 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 we never listen to when the lessons are taught in class. So we have this capability that is very innate right from the beginning. We don't care what is going on in the class because we know we are clever enough to figure it out just before the exam. So by and large, I think Indian students are very entrepreneurial that way that they can learn a lot of things by themselves, which which is a very important faculty that is required in this particular course because you're listening to faculty members. Right? Time is the other one, right? Time is another one. And the problem with a course like this is lack of broader structure. While we have terms, while we have courses that come live, the microstructures are not defined. So, like, you don't have to turn up in a classroom 8 o'clock in the morning, come what may. It forces us to get up in the morning. Oh, I need to take this bus. I need to take that cab or that metro. And then, so that structure is also very important for you to get by. Those don't exist here because you can do it today, you can do it tomorrow, you can do it after, right? So to that extent, that little self-discipline is what is required because those microstructures at the course level are not there,
Mhm.
right? So while we keep bugging you, we'll tell you that, oh, we haven't seen that, you haven't seen this, and things like that. Or at least we are going to be doing a lot of those coming. But so your ability to learn by yourself, making sure that you set aside some time, which is why I'm saying templatizing it is also very easy, like Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays, and so STT or something like that. And then that will make sure that, okay, I need to do something on Tuesday. So you will have to develop your own pattern so that you are able to finish this. Um, Being honest that you are in here to learn is something which is also very important because the reason why we're putting this course is also because we would want quality education to be available to a lot of people. And if we are going to make it offline, then it becomes very expensive because time and attention, private attention, is very, very hard. As in, if you want a faculty member to come and teach you for 6 hours, you'll have to then pay that kind of time that the person charges. But if the same thing is converted into video and we fractionalize the whole thing so that it becomes available to thousands, so then the cost becomes minimal. So we need to do a cost benefit analysis of how do you give high quality education, but not in situ like in a classroom, which requires a lot of time, attention, and resources. It requires insane amount of resources, buildings, faculty time, student time, transfer, transport. All of these are extremely expensive. So then the cost goes up. Then it becomes a 9 lakh program every year, right? So we can have easier, cheaper, accessible, which means that there are certain things that you need to do by yourself, or go to the expensive places where these things are done because the structures are already there, right? So that is the difference between online and offline. So I would suggest if you have elements of these, jump in.
All right. So I think the question has been answered, but there are certain questions we have in a Q&A and something which is I am very keen on, getting the answers for. I am a doctor by profession. What will be the scope of a course for me?
Look, it's a practicing doctor who doesn't have time. They might find it. So we have other courses that you could check out in our IIM. We also have digital. You don't have to be here. There are multiple courses related to hospital management, related to people management, related to strategy that are being offered online, offline in IIM through their executive education programs. That may be a better fit for you because you don't need a lot of fundamental stuff that is part of this particular course. You may need selective content in order to develop your capabilities. You could pick and choose which one. There are lots of colleges available. A lot of them are being offered through online, offline, medium A, B, C, and a whole bunch of institutes are offering these programs. So you're better off doing those because you don't need another degree.
Right. So if the doctor is listening, I hope you have got the answer. And it will be nice if you actually be a part of it because uh, this particular program kind of shapes up pretty well. With the last conversation I had with my student, uh, looks like the peer group is working pretty well, the networking is working pretty well, and the businessmen in the batch are actually taking support from their batchmates and kind of doing pretty well. And one thing which I actually would like to share with everyone, one of the projects what you gave to the student was creating a business for 250 rupees.
Yes. Yeah.
That was interesting.
Professor Sachi runs this course and it's been doing very well. Students are loving those courses. And so students are loving all those practical courses. Yeah.
And that was interesting. So
Yeah. Yeah.
if you all are looking at something like this, the learning which is practical, something which would give you, something which would definitely give you uh, an edge over the others in terms of learning the content, making sure that you are in the right path. If you have that time, if you have that intention, if you are somebody who's self-motivated and doesn't really want somebody else to just watch yourself on the shoulder, then this particular program is for you. The application is already on. You can go to the link which I have shared just now, which is a grad school zone. You will be able to directly apply from there. The application deadline is the 30th of June. The entrance test is required for this. A lot of you are asking the same question. If you have given JEE, you can apply. If you have given CUET, you can apply. And if you don't have either of the scores, you can apply through the entrance exam, which is called the IIM DBE ET, which is entrance test. All right. This is happening on the 26th of July, 2026. And if you want to apply and if you want to kind of go ahead with the program, all the details I have provided to you. Reasons for applying, you should the last date is the 30th of June. I'll just write it down here. 30th of June 2026. DBENET, which is the entrance test, happening on the 26th of July. Rest, you can just look at this particular link which I have shared with you, the grad school zone. It will give you everything, the seat intake, it would give you everything all at once. You can just go through that. Okay. I have also shared the link. We will do this second week of June once the IPMAT is over for my students who want to do the dual degree. If you want this, we will be able to do it. And let's see what other questions we have here. Is the semester exam tough to pass? Will it become a hurdle in my professional course preparation? So you're on mute.
So look, the course, right? You said is the course, the entrance. What was the question?
If the semester exams, they're talking about the exams, once the exam happens,
Yeah,
what
some
happens?
like they are all going to be, look, as any faculty member, as any faculty would say, if you regularly do, there's nothing called a tough exam, right? Tough exam is exam that you haven't prepared for. So if you have looked at the content and you don't optimize saying that, oh, this is going to come, that's not going to come, I'm going to analyze the previous questions and get a pattern. So while I'm sure all of us will do that, but if you're diligent, I don't think it's a hard course. Just put time, and that's it. It's rigorous. It's not hard. I would say it's rigorous. And templatizing it, it is possible for you. It's rigorous. So you just get up and do a bit, get up and do a bit. Yeah.
I think you
Okay.
just answered that. A lot of you are asking about the fees, the information with the link which I have just posted here. The link will give you all the details. If you want to be a part of the session, which we will be doing with the students by the 15th of June, okay, so we will try to make sure that we have students from all the age brackets to give you an unfiltered opinion, feedback, their own experience about will this really be the right thing to do for you? And you can gauge it accordingly. Just register. So once we have the link ready, we just shared it with you. So you would be able to join with your questions. Can't we? Okay, the link is right there. I'll be kind of, okay. My bad, my bad. Just a moment. I have been just replying to, all right, here it is, sharing it with everyone. 30th June, 26th July. I was just answering to the host and the panelist and not to everyone. Apologies for the same. All right. So I hope this particular session has helped everyone. I just hope that if you are looking forward to, can we pursue a work from home job after this program?
Yeah, I'm sure. Yes, definitely.
Yeah, actually, it's a degree
Yeah.
which you would get. And, if there is a degree which is provided and you're able to get yourself a job, then it's a work from home or possibly an offline. Both thing works. So I hope this particular session has helped everyone. Two things. If you're considering applying for this program, the grad school zone link have all the details, the fees, seat intake, the entrance test, everything you need to know to understand the program well. Second, if you are a little dicey about the program still and considering karu, nahi karu, you're in that particular, crossroad, on the 15th of June, when we will do the session where we will have all the age bracket students, I think that particular session will give you the clarity. And post that, don't stop yourself, just submit the form. Till then, fill the form and keep. Okay.
Right.
And with this, I just want to take the opportunity again and say thank you, sir, for doing this for us. Uh, with this session, I learn a lot. 2 years, definitely it gives me a lot of information about what is happening and what exactly this program is, is going in the direction. You never know, possibly, uh, once I get a clarity, you would see me as a student for
Thank
the
you.
program.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for doing this, Sanika. I think it's important. And it's also good for me to also get and listen to these questions because this also helps us with how we should reach out to people and then shape up our Q&A in terms of what this course is about and things like. Thank you very much. As always, enjoy talking to you. And thank
Same
you.
here, sir. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
And for all
Yeah.
of you who have joined us for the session, thank you for being such a lovely audience on the YouTube and here. You guys have been very patient. Fill the form. Don't forget, just make sure you fill the form. And I will make sure that you get an email, a WhatsApp on your phone with the details of the next session we would be doing. Thank you so much. You all have a
Bye.
lovely day and all the best.